Continuing on, let's go ahead and lay out the foot. The foot we could do with a box and chamfer the edges. We could even do it just with a sphere, which I think is going to be the case for this one. Go to our front view here, and we'll go about right here in the center point. The end of this is the center point of our sphere, and we'll just scale this guy up. There we go. And make our X-ray mode our Alt X. We'll just flatten this guy out a little bit. So flatten it. We can also set him up roughly in the middle there. We really don't need any of the bottom parts. I'm just going to right click on the object, convert to edit poly. This is just a little bit quicker for us when we want to do our edit polys. We don't necessarily have to go and apply the modifier to it, and we'll go to 3 so that we can select on the border going around, and we can just do a quick cap on it so that we fill in the bottom. Alright, and it looks like if we go to our right view, we can see that we're a little bit high and we're a little bit big, so let's go ahead and change up our shape just a little bit by scaling it. I'm just going to bring this in, move this forward a little. We can scale down right in here because we can always bring that shape up just a little bit. Let's go ahead and take that part down. Let's take this part up. Let's go ahead and take both of these parts up. There we go. Along the back, we know we're a little bit more straight. Not quite that same shape as the other. On the front, let's go ahead and pull this one in. Same with here on the back. We're going to pull that one in. Looks like we can pull that down just a little there. Again, all I'm doing is just shaping out these lines to line up with the curves on this foot. Now we don't have too much going on right in here. What we could do, let's bump this guy back a little bit, and then let's add an extra edge loop right in there. So I'm going to select on my edges. I'm going to go into my connect, and that's going to give me my extra edge loop right in there to work with, which I can pull this guy up. Whoop, and then we can pull this guy over just a little, not too much. And let's go to a perspective view. We can get a better sense of how it's going. It's actually looking pretty good. We've got just a nice simple foot going on. Now we've also got all these points coming down to one point. What we can do is take out these edges and drop it straight down. It's going to subdivide better, and it's a better use of the geometry. So I'm just going to go in, select on each one of those edges. We'll do the remove, select on our cut tool, and let's just drop that down to the center on each side. There we go. And don't forget we got a back side to this. So let's do the same thing back here. We're just selecting on the edges, click on the remove, going to our cut tool, and take it all the way down and just cut in that shape and cut in that shape about in the middle on both sides. There we go. We can go ahead and select on those, pull it out a little bit to shape it. And again, I've said it before, but the main thing to keep in mind is that it's all about you just taking control of that object and that shape and defining it the way you want it. And let's go ahead and set our material and our edge coloring in there. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. We've got the basic shape nailed down in there. We've got a circular shape right here on the front, and we've got a nice little piece to work from right in there. So let's go ahead and work on that one. We've got just that piece selected. We could even just do a inset on that like that. I'm going to scale that back up just a little. There we go. scale it in. Now we don't need the bottom piece. It actually connects into a bottom. So let's do a little editing right in here. We don't need this, or this. So let's just select them and delete them. What we do need are these at the bottom. We need these to be pulled down to the bottom. So let's just get to a better view in our front view and pull those guys down. Now underneath, it's a little bit different story. We need to weld this piece of geometry to that one. So let's go into our target weld and let's find our geometry. It looks like it's here and here, here and here, and then we've got, let's see which piece this is. There it is. So we need to add some additional geometry to catch that one. So I'm just going to go in both of these guys and first move them out of the way a little bit. Go into our cut tool, and we don't really need to cut all the way through at this point. We're just looking at adding in geometry, and then we can target weld over to it just to make this a solid shape. There we go. So that gives us basically what we're looking for right there. And then we've also got some lines going across. So basically it looks like about right in here. We could catch this edge loop, or we could do this edge loop over either one of them. This should be just fine. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and cut in my shape on the bottom of my foot. So no matter what mode you're in, it's one of the edit geometries, so you could be your poly or your edge. I'm just going to make my cuts across. And again, we're just hovering over, left clicking, right clicking to end, and all the way through the middle. This is just defining our edges, which is in essence overriding what Autodesk may be attempting to do with it. Let's see, I'm just going to grab these two because I actually want those in place a little bit better. I'm going to go in and do a constraint on an edge and just pull this down. There you go, I like that a little bit better. We're going to pull this one up just a little bit more to get a curve. We're just getting that nice little curve right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this set in. We'll pull that one down. Nice. So I think I'm going to have this go up, and it's actually going to close off right here. So let's go in, let's select our edges going through here. Now we could continue underneath. Yeah, why not? That'll be fun. Have a nice line through, then we've got this line going through, and of course some symmetry both sides. There we go. What we're going to do is just chamfer that up, so we've got a groove to work with. So we're going to make it about the same width as that one. That looks pretty good. We'll click OK on that. And let's go ahead and transfer this over. We're going to make this into polys. There we go. And we don't need that, but we could use that one. There we go. So we got the piece that we're wanting to indent on. So I'm going to go into my extrude, and we're going to intrude, and we'll do it on a local normal. We'll accept that. There we go. And we can assign our darker material to it. And the one thing you'll notice is when we have just an edit poly, notice I applied it and it just assigned it to my selection. By default it works that way. If you have it set up on that, I'm just going to select the bottom two pieces here. This is just extra geometry that we can get rid of. And some overlapping geometry we can get rid of. And we just need to cut out, and then rebuild right in there. So I'm just going to go to my edge mode. I'm going to turn off my constraints. Go to cut. And let's just make a nice simple little cut right here. Back to vertex mode. Target weld. We're just going to bring that shape over. Okay, and filling in this area in here, there's a lot of different ways we can do it. I'm going to go into my poly mode and create, and just left click on top. You can double click to end it, or you can right click to end it, or get to the first part that you started with and that'll close it off for you. We just want to fill in these pieces nice. There we go. Last little piece. Let's go ahead and cut across here and pull that front toe out just a little bit. Give us a nice little curve on it. So I'm just going to grab here to here. And let's grab one point. We'll grab both these points and just slightly pull them out. Give us a nice little soft edge. Nice, we're looking like we've got some good plating going on in there. So the foot looks good. Now the piece that we can use around the foot is the piece we've already modeled right up here. Let's see how much of this we can actually reuse. So I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to scale it up a little bit because it is a larger piece. It needs to encompass the foot below. And instead of wrapping around like that, we actually just do want to cut it off at the end. So let's see if we can't make this guy work for us a little bit. We're going to pull this one in. We'll pull this one in a little bit. Let's see, somewhere about right in here, the end of that one right there. If we were to go in and delete it right there, what do we get? We can bridge across some of our connections. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Just roughly putting it in there. I think we're going to have to bring this shape down a little bit. Bring this shape down a little bit. And then overall, let's see if we can't get this guy down a little bit closer there. There we go. we can massage these pieces up just a little bit. Move our shapes up, ever so slightly. And we do like crossing across there. We look pretty good there, like that. And right around there. Let's see what we've got on the front view. The side view looks pretty good. Remember, we want to try to nail down one view at a time. Okay, that's pretty close. On our front, looks pretty evenly placed. I'm going to put a subdivision on here. There we go. Nice. So I think we're looking pretty good reusing that piece in a nice way like that. Now you notice that some things that we use more often than not, we go to our modifier list, but what we can also do is we can make a set of quick ones with our configure modifier sets. We're going to say show buttons. When we show buttons, it gives us this nice little list of some quick ones we can go to. I go to my configure modifier sets. When I go into here, it allows me to set up the modifier, set up how many buttons I actually want. So for us right now, we're really only between edit poly, just left click and drag in there. And let's scroll down to, let's say, a turbo smooth, left click and drag. And in fact, I'm going to add two more. I'm going to add a unwrap UVW. Let's scroll down to the bottom down here, and we've got our unwrap UVW. I'll drop that one in here. There we go. So we got three that we're probably going to use. I'll go ahead and click OK on that. Clears that up, sets the ones that we're going to use, and that way, instead of going into the modifier list, I can just click on it right there and assign it real fast. Okay, so we've got our little ankle piece right in here. We've got our foot, our shin, our knee, our upper leg, the connecting piece that's going to bring them all together. Basically right in here where we're going to bend this object when it comes together. And I'd say we are looking pretty good. So all that's left to do then is make a copy of the piece that we have, and let's do that right now. So I'm just going to select on what we have right here, and we'll copy them over. Considering that there's not really anything different on both sides other than the top piece, I'm just going to rotate just this one. A on the keyboard is snap for our object. And let's say we are right about in there. Let's go ahead and select on all these pieces. Move this in place. Okay, let's unhide our arms. We had those in that group too, so we'll unhide that. And we are looking pretty good. We've got our character pretty much all together. We've got our shoulders, our arms, we've got our legs, our feet, our chest and torso, and our head. So I'd say we're looking really good. We'll do one more pass just on any little polish items that we might have on it to make sure that it divides up good, that we've got everything where we want it. And then we should be able to move into our unwrap and our material. So we'll get started with that next.